Day 94. Hey, what are you doing today? 94 days and counting. We're gonna start off with two quotes that I came across this morning. I'm not gonna say where they're from, but a lot of people probably know them already. But just good quotes. One, when every day is the same as the next, it's because people fail to recognize the good that happens in their lives every time the sun rises. So, just interesting, my initial thought on that is just basically, I've talked about kind of the zombie life that I felt myself stuck in, and a lot of that does come down to not being aware, not being awake to the changes, even though I get up every day and I do the same things, a lot of the same things over and over and over again, and it becomes like a zombie-esque rhythm, where I lose myself, lose paying attention, lose seeing the qualities in it. There are subtle differences every day, and there's beauty in it every day, and it's just something, as simple as this quote is fail to recognize the good, that happens in our lives every day when the sun rises, as the sun rises. But that quote kind of stuck with me this morning, because when I did my run today, the run is kind of, I like it. The run has turned back into like a religious, meditative experience. I'd thrown the challenge back in, as I mentioned, from 2 days ago. Now I'm running 7 miles an hour. I did it again today. Felt good, and as I'm running, a song from Van Morrison came on, and I can't even remember what it was. It's something about great morning or great day. I gotta look it up. I gotta remember what it was. But it's one of those things. It was just that moment, that small little essence of life being lived, was all captured and felt in that moment. All the feel good things running along 7 miles an hour. My body feeling itself working. My mind in a meditative state of relaxation. The music speaking to me. It was just one of those things that, even though it's something that I do every day now, and it's become a little bit repetitive and maybe a little bit zombie-esque where it had, however, throwing the challenge back out there, it makes it brings an element to it that brings it back to life. But all those things together were just a nice little thing to catch and to pay attention to and to be grateful for. And the other thing that was interesting that I noticed yesterday and today, with throwing in the challenge of wanting to get to running 7 miles an hour comfortably, and how quickly just making that decision changed that, and now it is already into it fairly comfortable. But running 7 miles an hour, I get to a mile a lot quicker. So today I decided I was just going to run for 10 minutes at 7 miles an hour. I hit that 10-minute mark. I was at like 1.2 miles or something, somewhere around there. And I was like, what? Why don't you just finish the mile and a half? And I was like, okay, so I'll just finish the mile and a half. So I finished the mile and a half, and then I was like, well, I'm so close to 15 minutes. Why not just do 15 minutes? And these are all little things that is the element of fun, the element of was there. It wasn't, just push yourself. It wasn't one of those kind of things. It was just, I'm feeling good, and then next thing I know, I look down and, I've run 15 minutes, and now I'm at, almost 2 miles, and I'm like, so finally I stopped the madness. I just got off and just accepted it as a good run, and it was. But it was funny to see how, how my mind and my body felt, and how that, that pushed me to go further and further and further. Whereas, mentally, if I had to concentrate on, oh man, I got to run 7 miles an hour, and I got to run 10 minutes, and seeing the time click by, that's when the mind plays tricks on the body and makes things harder than they feel. When it's fun, when it's for me, when it's fun, when there's a goal, when there's something being achieved, when there's some gain in it, that's when it becomes enjoyable. I used to say that I hated running outside unless I had a destination. What I meant by that was I didn't like to go outside and just run aimlessly around, not really, going anywhere specifically, and then have to circle back and finish the run. I've never really enjoyed that. However, if I put out, I'm going to run 6 miles, I'm going to run from point A, and I got to make it to point B, then it becomes something to accomplish, a distance, a goal to get to, and that's when it becomes fun again. So just constant, just the small little goals, I've noticed that they make things more enjoyable. They make things easier to drive towards. So I need to concentrate on that. I need to get the little goals going and make life interesting and fun that way. Day 94, I'm realizing that, but it's something that we can realize things at any given time. Day 94 is still pretty young, still pretty fresh in this endeavor. And I was thinking about that this morning too. Why is it got to be a year? And it doesn't. I mean, a year is just a marker. A year is where I've come. So this is day 94 of who knows how many days. In my mind, it's a year. To see what kind of progress I made, but maybe I'll be making these videos for 5 years for myself. Who knows? Second quote: "It's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting." Well, that's kind of funny. I wasn't really planning on going down that path and rambling, but it's funny how those now intermingle and commingle, and what my thoughts were. But it's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting, and that's the same thing. It's just the goal, the possibility of achieving that goal makes things more enjoyable, makes things more interesting. Anyway, that was kind of hit me. I wasn't expecting them to kind of correlate in the same way. But I saved those two quotes. Had a little bit of an epiphany last night. The last 2 days, I've been in a little bit of a turmoil about what to do about switching jobs. And this little voice inside of me was telling me the whole time, just kind of stick it out. And you know what? I came to that conclusion. This is like the perfect environment. This environment I'm in. If I mentioned yesterday that it might be fun to move to another position and reinvent myself and kind of go with the change that I'm trying to make. And that's a bunch of hullabaloo. It's I'm gonna take my energy there. I'm gonna be the same person there at this other position. It's not like some magic change is just going to occur. Things might be new and fresh for a second, but ultimately it's still a job. It's still working for somebody. And my thing is, I've got so much going on here that I recognize I need to overcome. This position that I'm at now. It's not a job, but it's a quest to overcome these weaknesses that I'm aware of in myself. These different ways that I handle things, different ways that I take things personally, different ways that I hold on to things. I've got to remember today, as I was walking up to the truck, I've got to remember that I'm not entitled to anything. Nobody owes me anything. And a lot of my frustration and anger comes from having invested a lot of time in this position, and seeing other people get rewarded that haven't done the work, haven't done the time, just for whatever reason, whether it be a nepotism or whether it be a friend thing, or it's just things that we run into in normal life. But what it really comes down to is, I'm not entitled to anything. What happens with other people? I don't need to worry and carry about that. But I take things so personally. Things bother me, and this is the perfect training ground for what I need to do and what I need to work on. And then I thought about too, the other element that on a more realist side of it, if I move to that position, I'm going to immediately take a big pay cut, and one of the goals is to get out of debt, and I haven't even really been paying attention to that goal. And that was kind of a clincher. I realized that, hey, I'm trapped by my debt. I don't have the freedom to move to this job. I mean, I could, but I recognize that it's gonna create more debt. It's gonna create more stress. It's gonna create more of more of all that negative energy that I don't need. What I really need to do is just buckle down, recognize that this is a training field. This job that I'm at, every element of it, every aspect of frustration or I've got to learn to overcome things inside myself. Basically just that. Just look at everything as mental and spiritual training that I need to undertake, and I need to finish the task. If I can't change myself here, I can't change myself anywhere else. By moving to a different location, by moving to a different, a different atmosphere, that's not going to change me necessarily. I'm still going to carry with me that. So, the real test is, can I change myself here in this situation that brings me down, that makes me so, wallow in so many negative emotions, negative feelings. That's the real test, and that's what I really need to do. So I just made that decision last night that I'm going to stick it out, and at least make it to to the end of this journey. Make this my. That's tough to say. I haven't made that decision, but I was about to say make this my last job ever before I step out into entrepreneurism and generating my own income. But I can't be certain of that. I don't feel as certain of that to make that statement, so I'm not going to make that statement. But I need to look at it as that. Even if it's not a money thing, it's not what am I earning here at this job. It's what am I getting from it? What am I taking from it? Big thing I can take from it is that training field, and master myself in this situation, in this bad situation, turn it into something else, and learn from it, and grow from it, and get to the next level. So I think that's it. I think that's day 94. Oh no, one other thing. I think I'm gonna start sailing. I've always had this thing. I'm not a nautical person. I've never really spent any time on the water. I know absolutely nothing about boats. But I've always had this romantic image of sailing around the world, and I think the first step is getting me a little dinghy of sorts with a sail on it, and finding out what everything's about. I researched it a little bit. I now know what it means to be in irons, which is a cool nautical term, in irons. But when I want to teach myself that's going to be my new hobby. Cigars are waning. Actually, they're not. They're still. I want to have a nice humidor full of cigars on my sailboat sailing around the world. That would be in the middle of nowhere, sun coming up, chomping on a cigar would be awesome. Anyway, put a little picture of a sailboat. Not a little sailboat, a real sailboat, something you can sail around the world in, on my phone. And now, anytime that's going to turn into a little tool for me. Anytime I'm in a situation that I'm full of frustration, I'm going to look at that sailboat. I'm going to take myself right out. I'm going to take myself out of the situation, put myself on that sailboat, and be like, what the hell am I worried about? Why is this bothering me? Just a simple tool, but a pretty image, pretty thought. I'm going to start sailing around the world in my mind. Sometimes I think in our imagination is the only place we're truly free. Someone asked me the other day, "Are you a free man?" And I said yes in hesitation, and thought, no, really I'm not. But for some reason I knew I was, and I didn't have an answer for it then. I think the answer is because I have an imagination, I'm free. I'm tied to a lot of things physically here, maybe mentally and spiritually as well. But when it comes down to it, my freedom is up here. Just a matter of bringing it to fruition, bringing it to reality, having the freedom to sail around the world. Beautiful thought. That's it. Day 94. Hey, what are you doing today?